Good morning, good afternoon, greetings to you, wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to this webinar by AECC and CARE. We're welcoming you to our conversation on leadership and coaching. And on the next 1.5 hours, we want to spend time with the team from CARE to tell us about their experience from coaching and how it has transformed them as leaders and transformed the organization. My name is Catherine Munene. I'll be the moderator for today's session. I am a council board member of AECC. Our mission at AECC is to create an all-inclusive executive coaching ecosystem for Africa that promotes best practice and relevant support to stakeholders for positive transformation in our continent. So we are very pleased to start this year with today's session, having a discussion with the team from CARE. I'll start by saying a Happy New Year to all of you and to the panelists, and to invite the team from CARE led by Claudine Awute, and to ask the team to spend a minute or so just telling us who's on this webinar with us, and then we'll take it from there.
Thank you, Catherine. And thank you, AECC, for organizing this event together with us. I will leave my colleagues, Michelle and Sarah, organize the introduction. For myself, I'm Claudine Messan-Aute. I'm the Vice President for CARE USA for International Programs and Operations. I'm based in Abuja, in Nigeria.
Thanks, Claudine.
Michelle, over to you.
So, yeah, my name is Michelle Rakutumanga. I'm the HR business partner for West Africa, the one who's leading the core team in this for the regional leadership program. I'm based in Madagascar and covering West Africa region. I'm partnering with Sarah particularly on this session. Over to Sarah.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good morning. My name is Sarah Arneson. I am the Learning and Development Advisor for CARE, and I am based in Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States. And I'm really happy to be here with you all today, just to share a little bit about the creation of the program that all of my colleagues really were the implementers of and the participants in.
We have 2 other participants from CARE, part of the regional leadership program, and I will ask Céline Enonji to introduce herself. Céline, over to you.
Thank you, Michelle. Hi, everyone. I'm Céline Nenodi, the coordinator of Women and Girl Empowerment Program. I'm based in Chad, and I work with CARE Chad. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Bello, over to you.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I am Mohamed Bello from CARE Niger. I'm an entrepreneurship advisor and financial inclusion for the BSLA Women. I'm based in Niamey, Niger. Thank you.
Thank you, and we have 2 executive coaches who've joined us, so I'll let them introduce themselves, Nuria Koshen and then Sophie Broyas.
Thank you, Catherine, and welcome everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I am an executive coach, trainer, and facilitator based in Nairobi, and I worked with CARE on the leadership program that took place recently.
Thank
you, Nuria. Good afternoon, good morning to everyone, and Happy New Year. My name is Sophie Broyas. I am an executive coach, mentor coach, and supervisor. I've been also involved in this program as a coach, and but I'm also a member of the AECC, and I'm very pleased to be with you today. Today I'm going to have more of a back role and leave Nuria take and represent us, the coaches, in this program.
Thanks, Sophie. So I think to get us, for the benefit of those on the webinar who may not know about CARE, please tell us about CARE, the work you do, and where you are in the context.
Thank you, Catherine. CARE International is an organization created 75 years ago in response to the Second World War impacts on populations, and then it expanded its work to different places, including Africa, where we currently have our biggest operations. And our vision is to work for a world of hope, inclusion, and social justice, where poverty has been overcome and all people live in dignity and security. And this vision drives what we do. It leads us and it nurtures our work in the 100 countries where we have operated in last year. And we work in all these 100 countries to save lives, responding to humanitarian crisis, but also engaging in the longer term. And in our work, we focus on women and girls. And they are at the center of our work because we know that we cannot overcome poverty, not only as CARE, until all people have equal rights and opportunities. And we know women and girls are deprived for it. So this is who we are. Briefly in Africa, as I said, Africa is the continent where we have the biggest part of our operations as an organization. In the last year, we've reached out to more than 33 million people, mostly women and girls in Africa, over the 90 million worldwide. We work in areas of food and nutrition security, humanitarian response, but also in areas of, hello, can you hear me? I can hear myself.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you. So I was saying we work in the area of food and nutrition security and humanitarian response assistance in many areas. We also work on sexual and reproductive health and rights, promoting also a life free from violence, addressing issues of gender-based violence, empowering economically women through a very well-known approach that CARE has developed that is used worldwide, which is a Village Saving and Loan Association approach. And we also promote basic social services, knowing that though our ambition is to address underlying causes of poverty, we need to look at immediate causes as well as capacities of people we work with and issues that are deeper and affect poverty. So this is briefly what I can say, and adding that in addition to Africa, where we work in Eastern, Central, Southern, and West Africa. We also work in the Middle East and North Africa, in Latin America and the Caribbean, and in Asia. These are operations areas. And then we have members who form the Confederation of CARE International. There are 14 in total, plus 6 new members who are affiliates. So this is briefly who we are. And later on, I will share how this identity, this mission and vision impact and influence our leadership development journey.
Thanks, Claudine. And perhaps my next question coming into leadership and coaching goes to you, Sarah. Give us a flavor of the context, what led to the need for coaching? And how did you get here? Give us a flavor of the context.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that CARE is unique, really, when it comes to leadership needs. I think that historically we've been like many organizations where we've had a more directive or more task-based, more risk-averse culture, and we really are trying to lead into a new era of staff feeling really empowered to take risks, to be agile, to be innovative. And so I think that in making that move towards a new cultural model where people really feel empowered to own the work that they're doing, and that it's more than just a job, than just coming in and doing your work, but really leading authentically and owning each project. I think that really calls for a coaching culture and a coaching approach and work. You know, the world is evolving at an unbelievable pace. I think we all know that it feels like change happens every second. And as the world is moving that quickly, the organization needs to be able to move and adapt quickly as well to respond to the changing needs of our world. And so we really do need leaders that can feel empowered to make quick decisions. A coaching culture to me really means investing in our employees by giving them skills and developing them in a way that builds their confidence to find their own answers within themselves. In a true coaching culture, staff really feel that management believes in them and has leaders that help their staff feel that they believe in them. And then that in turn helps people be more creative and can really empower others. So I think that's the change we're looking for. And I think we've made a lot of really good steps in that direction. I think it's a continual process that we need to keep reviewing and encouraging.
Just building on that, tell us some of the steps you've taken. How did you bring the conversation around coaching to care? Where did you start? Yeah, absolutely. I do have a couple of slides that I was going to show about the program. Should I bring those up now? Yep. Okay. Great. Yeah. So, in talking about the program,
Sorry to interrupt you, Sarah. I just want to say to all the attendee here that please do communicate with us. Use the Q&A, and we will build up. If you have any question, do be active. We will be happy to answer those questions as they go. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie. So the Regional Leadership Program is the program that we're talking about today. And this within our L&D team, our Learning and Development team is very small. We are a team of 2 people and we are based in Atlanta. And so we really strongly rely on partnerships with our staff in the countries that we're working in and in the regions. And so the Regional Leadership Program was built as a framework to help build the confidence, the skills, the presence needed for people to lead, tied to CARE's mission, vision, and values. And so what you're seeing on the screen here is the model that we created that is sort of the framework for the program. So we have all of our values, which are here underlying each of these circles. So transformation, integrity, diversity, equity, equality, excellence, those are CARE's values. And tied to those values are specific competencies that you can see in these outside circles with our mission in the middle. And so we created a program that consists of 8 modules. And as you can see on this list here on the left, the modules are all, again, tied to values. They're tied to a competency. The one that we added, which is the second bullet down on the left-hand side of the screen, is coaching and culture. So we felt like adding coaching into this mix was extremely important and was a thread throughout all of the modules, something that really needed to tie everything together. So it may not be one of these core competencies we had here, but we absolutely felt that it was integral for any leadership program. And this regional leadership program is actually part of an architecture of programs that for various levels of staff, and coaching is a key component of every single one of those programs. This program, it was a self-paced program. It is blended learning. So we had an online platform that folks would engage in, and then that is paired with webinars, with an external coach, with a variety of different exercises that they had to do to apply the learning. And so I wanted to go a little bit more into that actual coaching component of the program. Should I go ahead and talk about that now? Great. So the coaching part really was robust and was throughout the program. It wasn't just one module. So these were all the different components. Coaching meant engaging with a professional external coach. So we worked with Global Coaching Network to have an external coach for each one of our participants. In addition to that, we had all of the participants attend an external professional instruction on coaching. So not only were they being coached, but they were learning about what coaching is and how they could utilize a coaching approach in their work and as a leader. And as part of that external professional coaching instruction, they would then practice coaching with their staff. And so often in the relationship with their external coach, they could bounce some of those ideas off or share the experience that they're having coaching while also being coached. So those two components really were important in not just having them engage with a professional coach in the way that coaches do to help you develop and grow, but then to also allow them to practice those same skills. And then we ended that specific module by having them attend an in-house led webinar. So a webinar where Michelle and our colleagues all came together and talked about what does coaching really mean at CARE? How can we foster a coaching culture at CARE? And then have peer learning where they can share with each other and talk to each other about what their experience has been practicing this new skill. I think that coaching is something that a lot of people aren't really familiar with. They think about a sports coach often or a mentor, which is very different than the coaching process. And so we really try to pair all of these different components together so that they can get a really robust, holistic picture of how we can create that coaching culture within inside CARE. One other thing I wanted to add is that when they engage with the professional external coach in the beginning, that coach is given a 360 feedback document from the participants. And so that's how the coach begins the engagement with their individual coachee. But then we really don't set many other parameters. We trust the coaches we've engaged with, the external coaches. We allow them to proceed with their coaching engagement in the way that they see best for their emerging leader. Are there any questions on that, Catherine? I just want to make sure that that's clear.
There's a question from one of the participants asking at what level of the organization was this available to?
Yes, so this was available to emerging leaders. So mid-level leaders that we saw as having very high potential to move up into more senior leadership roles. I believe we'll be talking about, so some of our intended outcomes of this were that emerging leaders would benefit directly from the growth that happens within a coaching relationship with an executive coach. And as part of that, we're able to then connect with their manager, their leadership team within their specific office, because these were leaders from around West Africa. And then we did have So one thing, I apologize, I don't think we clarified this in the beginning, but this was our first cohort that we did that was actually entirely in French. It was for our Francophone staff, and we felt that it was important to have a regional leadership program in French so that staff could develop these skills in the language that they were comfortable with. We had run 2 programs in other regions around the world in English. So this was the first one that we had done and entirely in French.
Catherine, can I add to Sarah's response?
Absolutely.
Thanks. I want to add that the regional leadership program, the Francophone one, is part of our leadership programming architecture at CARE. We have other programs existing that also are available for our team members, including in Africa. One of them, in addition to the RLP, the Regional Leadership Program, is what we call Catalyst for Global Emerging Senior Leaders, and Leadership Excellence Program for Global Executive Level Leaderships. And we also have in Africa Women Leadership Program focused on African women. So these are different initiatives that we have focusing on developing leadership and aligning it with our mission and our values. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudine. And coaching is a component of every single one of those programs. And that is something that was even before my time. When I came into this position in CARE, I've been with CARE for 11 years, but I came into this L&D, learning and development role, about 6 years ago. And even before that, the programs that we're running had a strong coaching component. So CARE has always had coaching really embedded in our leadership development DNA. It's been really important. And so the ways that we've expanded it, I think, were again, not just having an executive coach, but then teaching the leaders how to be more coach-like. And I usually put it in that way. Expect them to become more curious, to use a questioning approach with their staff in a way that really helps their staff know that they believe in them and that they are empowered to make their own decisions and to be a little bit less directive. I think it's sort of in our nature as we become leaders to feel like we may have all the answers and we're not supposed to be wrong and we're supposed to tell people what to do. We really want to flip that on its head and say, we want a culture where leaders are able to make mistakes and able to ask questions and able to collaborate with people. And if we can get the leaders in this program to become more coach-like and really have an understanding of what coaching is, then they can role model coaching for their teams and spread that out. So that is really our end goal with the coaching component of this program.
I think I'd like to ask the next question to Michelle, just following up on what was one of the participants asked. And how did you select the initial cohort for this coaching program? And how did you persuade them to be passionate and excited about learning coaching?
There is, sorry, before Michelle answers, I would like to just come in because there is a lot going on in the chat and both in chat and the Q&A, which is really exciting. There's a lot to, can you, as you answer, Michelle, clarify the target? How did you select and who are the people that have been coached or that have participated to that program? There is a question whether there is only men, women. We have already 2 participants from both genders, so that we can answer. But yes, tell us a little bit more about the participants.
Okay, thank you very much. So first, when we identified these participants in general, we are tying that with the talent management session at the country office level. We have many country offices and we have the full process of identifying particularly the potential leaders, as we can say that. And from that, we are asking them to fill, you know, some like a preliminary document to share where they want to go, what is the next step of their development. And then they they are filling the form, submitting that to the decision-making level with the country director and the senior management level. And from that, we can select one or two depending on their expectation and what are the areas of improvement that they want really to address. We are taking normally 2 staff per country office. Each country office, we have 8 country office participating in the Francophone one. And of course, it's normally gender, balanced. So 1 man and 1 woman for each country office as much as possible. Whatever, we want to push also the women leaders, knowing well that for West Africa, for example, or in Africa, the figures that we have normally like around 37% staff, women staff. I don't want to say the term against, but 63 men and 37 women in general in terms of proportion. So we want to raise the women leadership in one side. And we are coming to this kind of equilibrium now, getting more around on 44% women. So moving slowly, but on the right way. All the learning, development, leadership program together. So that's the way how we identify them. Now, how can we get them to for this buy-in? Maybe just one position, as Sarah and Claudine said earlier. This is in the architecture of the leadership program. So the fact that using coaching was always there as a staff development tool in general. And I have to say that part of the lesson learned previously, it's really efficient because many participants have shared their testimonies. And so when the program was designed, it was already part of the first step. What I want to say now, when you go back deeply on the fact in Africa, and knowing West Africa, we know that our potential leaders, our employees, most of the time, they are not really fully confident towards the supervisor. We know that for many reasons, maybe sometimes for respect, for fear, or for lack of trust, or sometimes even lack of communication. And getting someone else, like outstanding coach, someone with a lot of expertise to accompany them is like giving them a window to share more about their challenges, about their issues, and they're very excited to have this kind of support on this side. So they're experimenting very honest feedback, getting feedback, and also feeling this psychological safety, if I can say that in that way. So that's the way how they get the buy-in. They heard a lot about it. They've seen the result and the tangible results about it. So they were so happy really to join. So I think is that okay in terms of response, or do you want me to add something else? Sorry.
It is fantastic. Thank you. And just before I shoot the next question to the panelists, it's exciting to see the questions on the Q&A on the chat. Please keep them coming. Some will answer directly on the Q&A. Some of them, I'll read them out to the speakers as they continue. Michelle, thank you for that overview. I think one of the participants of the coaching program was Celine. Celine, just coming to you now, what was your experience? What concerned you, and what did you like?
Thank you for the question, Diana. I don't know exactly how to share or to express my experience, because in the reality, I think that this approach, the coaching approach, is designed only for me. And for me, during the program, for example, my professional and family life was like on the verge to achieve its goals. It's with the guidance of my coach. Then the coach was there like a channel. The coach was there like a guide, but it's not the guide who tell me what I do. She's there just to guide me and lead me to identify for myself what I want to do and what I can do and what I must do. This is just the role of my coach. For me, this experience is very exciting. And I want to say that it's just, this experience is just wow, because during the program, for example, I will go through the modules of the program. I ask myself some question before our session with my coach, and sometimes I try to find for myself some answers to the questions, and I often look forward to this moment coming early with my coach. One of my supervisors told me, for example, when I see how excited you are about talking of your coach, and every time you tell that I have a session with my coach, and when I consider all the arrangements you make to participate to the discussion with your coach, it makes me very, very happy. This is one my supervisor declaration. So those moments for the discussion with my coach were intense, and is the moment of confidentiality and the moment of trust. I had the opportunity to share with my coach my feelings, my challenge, and my perception, my understanding of different modules to the program, etc. And my coach was completely open to listen to me and to give me her support. And I see that before every session with my coach, for example, she asked me, what topic did you want to discuss, for example? And at the end of each session, she asked me, for example, what are the lessons you learned and what can you do differently, and so on. Then for me, if you want to succeed with the coaching approach, we want to develop trust relationships and to achieve our goals. Then in my experience, the coaching approach helps me to develop my sense of responsibility, because usually I hesitate to accept new and more responsibility. But with the support of my coach, now, for example, I'm able to accept to take more responsibility without fear, without hesitation, for example. That's my experience.
Fantastic. Thanks, Celine. Mohamedou Bello, what about you? What was your experience? You're on mute. Unmute, you're on mute, Bello. Yep.
Okay, it's okay now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for our coaching, our coach too, for it's not enough to thank you. The experience is very, very exciting, and it's very important what I learned from this coaching. So before the coaching, what I can say that it's very difficult for me to make face-to-face with somebody, to look him and to talk with him. So it is that the first one is for inside empowerment for myself. So the self-esteem, this self-esteem helped me too much in my organization, in how I'm collaborating with how I'm working with my collaborator, and how I'm working on the field trip with the beneficiary, especially VSLA women. So the other one, what I can say is, before, it's very difficult for me to say no. Every time it's like this gentleman that is very time, okay. So at the end of time, I'm so busy, I have too much of work. But now, because of this coaching, I can say no, but diplomatically. So the other thing again that I learned again is about the diversity. I understood that the diversity is very important in our work. So when we include ethnics, when we include gender, when we include religion and race, so it makes me very easy to make reconciliation, to make management, and to doesn't understand themselves for achieving our goal. If I take an example, I have a driver that we are not in the same, we don't have the same ethnics. So in the situation, some tendencies is like, okay, we have the black man and the white man that are checking for the presidential in Niger. So the guys are showing me that, so the guy is a white, so that I'm following him. So because of this diversity, I explained for him that it's very good. It's your right to choose who you want, but you don't have to follow the skin. You have to take the diversity. The other person is different, but he's not the opposite. And at the end, he understood that I'm all right. So what I said is very important. He said that, thank you very much, Bello. You give me my advice that I'm gonna work with them in my life. So the experience is unlimited for the learning again, for the courage of doing, the courage of taking risk with the measurements. So the courage to get the feedback from the coach. As my president colleague said, when we are discussing with the coach, I'm feeling so confidential. So when you tell to the coach what is going on, it's like we are flying, we are traveling light. You are so light. So that is what I can say for the coaching, and we continue to learning. Because of that, I learned. I rely too much video, more than 100 video, to search again to see what is behind again. I'm learning, and I'm learning again. Okay.
Thank you, Bello. I'll read for you some of the questions for the audience, from the audience, and this one may be for Sarah or Michelle. And the question is, how are you measuring the impact of the coaching program? Either one of you.
I'll get started, and then Michelle, if you have any other questions. There's a couple of different ways. We did a 360 survey in the beginning, where we had staff, sort of our baseline. So staff sent out a survey to their managers, their peers, direct reports about a variety of competencies, including coaching. And so we got that data, the coaches worked with them on that data, and we will actually be sending out a follow-up to that 360 a few months after the program has ended. So that will be going out shortly. We give it a little bit of time after the end of the program, so it's to see the lasting effects. So we will be getting those results. That will be one baseline of data. We did do surveying and data collection from the managers of our participants, of Bello and Celine and others, afterwards, to get their initial feedback of what growth they had seen during the program. And that feedback really was stellar. It was wonderful. And I was excited to see in that feedback that some of these leaders coaching their peers, coaching their direct staff. And so we did not prompt them to specifically say that. So it was exciting that they really saw that and called it out. We do, of course, survey the participants as well about their experience and how they feel like they have changed. We also have seen several participants already move up into acting positions. Celine has moved into an acting director position very shortly after the program. We had various staff from this program that also were tapped to be in things like working groups or on special projects. We're working on a 2030 vision right now, and one of our leaders was tapped to be a 2030 vision champion, which is an exciting role that there's a group of folks across the globe that are working on that. So there were a lot of different ways that we have seen, we've either heard from staff, from managers, from these surveys that which is where we get the quantitative data as well as the qualitative data, and then also actually seen the movement in their positions. And we'll continue to track that as well. So, and Michelle, if you want to add anything else.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, definitely. Particularly in the West Africa region, can I say, because that's the ones that I can focus particularly. There is some changes at the individual level, and you can hear that from the working environment. Normally, someone is calling you back and say, "Hey, Michelle, there is a big change in the behaviors, in the way how this person has handled correctly his role. Actually, what happened really?" And when I go back, because I've checked some of that, and I went back to one participant who really told me that through the coaching process that she has with her coach, she got like kind of a breakthrough, which was like kind of sparkling on her mind, and it changes definitely her way of viewing things, how to tackle the challenges, how to handle some issues with her team, how to coach them. And I think that what she said is her vulnerability becomes her strength, which is very good in general, because now she can she can go even beyond the boundaries. So that is one of the impacts at the individual level. Of course, there are many stories on that, but time is not enough to share more on that. On the team side, I can say that this team, like they built like a very strong network. They are keeping the momentum. They are continuing, exchanging, going really on deep conversation about some, can I say, taboo in West Africa or in the Francophone world with speaking French. You know that there is a bit of difference in the culture mindset. So there is a lot of conversations that can go ahead in a very, profound manner on the conversation. And they create like the WhatsApp group as part of the technology, in which I can see even today a lot of conversation going forward, sharing documentation, giving tips. And of course, it's changed also the leadership culture in general, because their voice are heard. Now people are focusing more as a supervisor at the country office level. They can say, "Oh, can you look on what they are talking about this, what they are thinking before taking a decision?" So I think this is going a step by step, but it's already started.
If I may, Catherine.
Yes, Claudine.
Just to quickly add to it on the organizational culture element, it is so important for us to see our colleagues on their development journey through coaching to become more proactive and also shaping the future of the organization by raising our attention to what is critical, and also on how we have to work together and looking at global trends and addressing them as an organization, and also paying attention to what is happening in the organization. For example, talking about power relations, inequity, etc., raising the organizational attention to what matters. Not to bring it to myself, I started with CARE as project manager, and I've been through development opportunity. I had coaching sessions, and it has helped me a lot. For the past 22 years, I can see how I've grown. And I realized that another impact of coaching is to develop and give back. to others, to the organization, to improve in one's performance, but also contribute to improve the organizational performance? Thank you.
Following from that, Claudine, how is CARE ensuring that this culture is embedded and that the coaching standards that are learned are maintained?
This is an interesting question. This discussion is an opportunity, for instance, for us to ensure that we share about it. But internally, what we do is at the end of our leadership programs, we organize learning sessions. What have we learned? What can we improve? And how can we improve? We also ensure, as Michelle said earlier, we connect it to succession management, to talent management, to ensure that it becomes something that is grounded in how we work and how we develop talents in the organization. And it is also the management responsibility to make it happen. And working with external coaches for us is not only about ensuring that managers are not involved in what we do, but it goes beyond that. It's ensuring that we have quality coaching. And this is what we gain in working with and partnering with the Global Coaching Network that has been so supportive to us, bringing expertise and external perspective to our coaching, and also through supporting the journey of our leadership program participants, influencing changes in the organization. This is what I can share. I don't know, Sarah and Michelle, if you want to add to it.
I think that was wonderfully said, Claudine. And I think it's folks like Claudine that really help make sure that this culture change happens and that this sticks. It's having leaders like Claudine that role model things like coaching that have really been amazing partners throughout. Claudine and I have partnered on leadership programming now for 5 or 6 years. She has, at the times when we have had internal coaches, she's been an internal coach. And Claudine has, as she said, worked her way up through the organization. And so having people like her as role models and helping us hold each other accountable is really important.
Let me turn to the coaches who partnered with the CARE team, starting with Noria and then Sophie. What was your experience?
Well, I would say it was an excellent experience. For me, what came across with the coaches that I had, and one in particular, was this real desire to learn to grow. Taking on board the results of the 360, trying to understand what was behind that, looking at areas of growth, and really applying what they learned. So for me, that was really, really important. And just this real enthusiasm. You know, each time we met, it was like we were continuing a conversation. The questions were there. There was a lot of discussion about what happened before. And I think also, particularly what I saw was a growth in confidence. And I think that for me was very encouraging as a coach to see that people actually started to understand their strengths. People started to want to apply those strengths, and people also change their perspective on leadership. That leadership is not all about having all the answers. It is also about having confidence in your team, showing your vulnerabilities, building agreement, learning from each other, helping each other to grow. So for me, those were the key things that came out of it. And in terms of the confidence also, I found that the coaches were able to express their views more easily upwards. And that was something that I felt was very, very important, because the experience that they bring from the time that they are in the organization is valuable and needs to be shared in every direction. Yeah, so those were the things that really came to me from the coaching.
Sophie?
Yeah, I think that my experience really echo what Noria just said. I just want to bring out another element of it to complement, was that having the program partnering with a coach, where every individual will partner with a coach, really helped to go deep and to contextualize. So those value are organizational value, and care represented in many countries in the world, even though we heard Claudine in Africa is your bigger operation, but not only, and it's the same values. And sometimes it is difficult when you're on the field somewhere in Congo and you need to make those values yours, and you need to make those values resonate for your own way of working and leading people. I'm thinking about diversity and inclusiveness. I'm thinking about those conversations we had around culture and how to bring that. And for me, those conversations with my coach, with the people I worked with, was fascinating, and I learned so much on facilitating and having those conversations around and what does it mean, those value. And it was really interesting to have those conversations and to unpack that. So I think it's that added value of making it to those big concepts that we see around the world yours, and how does that work in practice, and how do I show it when I am in Italy, or when I am in N'Djamena, or when I am somewhere else in the world. So I think that was a great experience. For the rest, Noria, I think I really echo what you said.
There's a very powerful comment from one of the attendees. She says, Zara, I confirm that coaching allowed me to strengthen my self-confidence for better decision making. My coach is with me through the change, so it has helped my potential. Coaching allowed me to set up my intelligence, and it has led me to success. So resonating with what everyone in this session has been talking about. Just following through the questions that are coming, and it's really exciting. We are encouraging the audience to keep bringing the question. One of the questions that's coming from Estelle is, what was the ratio of coach to coachees, and how long was the program?
So I believe, gosh, and I am sorry, I actually don't have the exact number. So we had 16 participants. I believe we had 7 or 8 coaches. So some coaches had 2 participants. So it wasn't one coach to one participant. It was usually, I believe, Noria and Sophie, did you each have 2 folks?
Yeah, I had 2.
2, yeah. So I think each coach had 2. So it wasn't, hopefully it was manageable. They could speak to that. And I'm sorry, was there a second part to the question?
No, that was it. But there's another one from Florence who's saying, did your program face any resistance? And if so, how much did you manage this resistance?
So I would say no for this specific. From my end, I don't know, Michelle, if in your experience within the region, I think Claudine has been such a huge supporter and proponent of this that we really did have a lot of buy-in, but also we have now been running, so we had run a cohort of this in Asia. That was our first pilot cohort. And then we ran a pilot of this in the Middle East. And so this was our first one in Africa, and it was a Francophone cohort. I think there was some initial discussion around whether we make it in English or French. And we really did push for this cohort in particular to be in French so that the leaders could get the most out of it and not have to struggle with some of that internal translation as they were trying to have deeper discussions on skill building. So I'm trying to think, I don't know, Michelle, was there resistance that you experienced in getting buy-in?
The relationship is so specific between the coach and the coachee. And we tried to have what is normally the way how we try to match them is to find out what is the participant expectation, and at the same time the coach bio, to see who can fit well with who. So of course it's not, I cannot say it just at random. It's not at random, but we tried our best, and we give a space to our participants to say if they don't want to have this coach as a personal one. In terms of resistance, I can't say no, but some of participants, what I get as feedback is like, they were like, not in the sense of fitting well, but try to how can you say that? Not to agree as a coachee, but to have like kind of, to be the coach himself or herself. So it made like a kind of challenge for some coach, but at the end, it went so quite well for all.
Okay. And there's another question coming that is saying, allow me to finish it, it's a bit long, and any one of you can take it. The supervisors or managers are expected to be good coaches, but some of them do not have good training in coaching. Is there a monitoring system to ensure that managers can provide good coaching to their teams? So we talked about ensuring that the coaching standard is maintained amongst the cohort of 16. But what about when they use coaching as a leadership approach? How are you going to maintain that standard and ensure that it's good quality?
Can I go for that, Sarah? So, yeah, there is this 360 degrees feedback that is done for the participant and sent to the coach. So they are building the relationship between that. But to make sure that the manager or the supervisor is still involved on the process, we have the 3 ways conversation in which the coach, the participant, and the manager are sitting together and try to set up some common ground on the way how this could go for the participant. Of course, it's part of the preliminary decision that the manager is giving the floor to the participants to really to manage the coaching relationship. So some follow-up time to time, following how CARE is working in terms of performance, I want to say. So kind of continuous conversation with the manager if they can share some challenges and what the manager is saying, but the participant is also in charge of having and building the relationship with the coach and see how can they work together really to achieve some part of the process they want, the learning process they want to build together.
I think that this is, I think this is a struggle in any organization with any skill, right? I think that there is only so much we can do to really help equip managers with some of these skills, and then hope that throughout having a long-term learning program like this and this type of investment, that our leaders are then coming out with a desire to continue to sharpen their skills and hone their skills and be a part of a lifelong learning journey, right? We really want to encourage lifelong learning for our managers. And so it's not, help them recognize that you went through this program and you're done learning and growing, right? So I think there's always so much more to do. And so I don't think that we expect any of our managers to be perfect or professional coaches. It's, again, if they're coming out with a mindset of I really truly want to empower my teams, I want to be more inquisitive, I want to help develop my staff. I think just having that mindset and continuing to grow and learn is going to really make a difference. They're not going to be perfect. None of us are perfect. We're all continually learning. So I think over the long term, there isn't necessarily a way other than normal performance management for us to absolutely say, yes, they are all excellent coaches now. But I think there's just a faith and that we have helped them develop a mindset that they're going to continue to put emphasis on this moving forward. I hope that makes sense.
It does. The next question is for the coaches and Claudine, and probably Claudine go first and then we get the view from the coaches. And it is, in your experience, what's the difference between using internal coaches versus external coaches when you want to drive impact?
Interesting question. There is a saying in Africa that says that when you have not tasted sources outside your house, we don't know how great sources can be in general. We say it in my place. And this is what external coaches bring to us. And Nuria and Sophie can confirm. And so would my colleagues from CARE. Working with external coaches, first, it helps us ensure that we have access to professional expert coaches, what we don't necessarily have in our organization. We expect managers and leaders to have coaching skills and work with their team members, but expert coaching requires something different that one we can provide internally. And it also helps having this external perspective, a way of challenging us, bringing different ways of thinking, opening up minds of participants to the world outside CARE. And this is what makes it so important for us to work with external coaches. That said, as I mentioned, internally, it is also important for us to develop it because coaching is a long-term journey that you have with your team members, and it is important for us. And this is even why we have this architecture ensuring that managers are exposed to coaching exercise experience and gain it progressively. Yeah, this is what I can say, and I know my colleagues will add to it, and I take this opportunity to say thank you and goodbye to everyone. I have to disconnect and attend another meeting. It has been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudine. It was a pleasure to connect with you and to hear from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Catherine. Bye.
On this, I just would like to just add, thank you very much, Claudine, for your presence and staying with us in the call. I really appreciate, and we say bye, you can drop off. I think that on this question around internal versus external, I'm going to put my supervisor hat here and be very clear about managers do need coaching skills, but being a professional coach require training, and we encourage people to look for people that are trained, that are certified, that are accredited, that are serious in what they do. There is internal coaches that are also accredited coaches, and kudos to them, because it's really hard to coach internally and to maintain that distance and to remain objective as they have an interest of the organization. Yet there is excellent internal coaches, and that's why they do seek for supervision to maintain that distance and to serve best their client. So let's not make a confusion between internal coaches versus manager with coaching skills. Those are very different. And I think that in that program, you wanted to support your manager to bring in those coaching skills and also to help them to experience coaching as they could see how it is done with a professional coach. Now it's like, I think it's a great opportunity to explain also how as an AECC, we want to promote coaching and what's our position. So back to you, Catherine.
Fantastic. Before we do that, there's a question from Jean. She's asking about that coaching program, and she's asking, how does the program talk about how to incorporate coaching continuity and to keep staff motivated during the change process so that you retain the coaching skills and the coaching culture? Does the program do that?
I saw that question, and I think it's really good. And honestly, I think we could do a better job at addressing that. I think change management comes up in various ways as we're talking through different issues that participants are dealing with, but we don't have a module that specifically addresses change and how you can use coaching as a tool during change management. And I think that could be a really powerful addition to the program. I don't know if Bello or Celine would want to talk at all to that, to how they might see what they've learned addressing change management.
Celine?
Hi, before a response to the question, I want just to add that with the leadership program, I was quite happy to hear that I will have a new coach. And so I have rather high expectations regarding coaching, which for me was the coach for me is there to help me to be a good leader in my organization and to be also a good leader in everywhere. Thus, before the program, I wanted to have a coach who would be available to listen to me and a coach who would be able to understand the context of my work and to have also the coach who will have a lot of skills to support me in my development performance. And I was lucky to have this coach who was able to meet all of my expectations and who even went beyond them. I would like take this opportunity to thank my coach, Sophie, and to thank also CARE for this opportunity. I saw that as a leader in my organization, I supervise sometimes directly or indirectly some staffs like project manager and others. With the leadership program, I have understood better the importance of coaching, and I integrate this approach in my supervisor techniques. And now, for example, this approach was allowed me to develop more active listening. And often I give more space to my supervisors to address by themselves their challenge, to solve their problem, and so on. I see that my management still has changed. I changed because now, for example, I'm more focused on future behavior, and my priority is help people to grow and seize new opportunities by enlist potential in way that works best. Coaching also helps me to face all of challenge I had when I combined, for example, several roles in the country office. It's not easy, but with the support of my coach, for 2 or 3 months, I combined the role of coordinator program, the role of SCD program, acting, and also the role of country director for our country office. Then the coaching approach helped me to address all of challenge during that time. I maintain the country office, for example. I am now, for example, able to communicate clearly with CMPs, member, with donors, with all of teams in the country office. That's for me the impact of this approach, and I want to share with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Celine, for sharing your personal journey and the personal impact it had on you. Thank you very much. Probably Bello, what was the personal impact on you?
Okay, thank you, Catherine. I think that if the coach was inside of CARE, maybe the confidence would be very difficult. Sometimes if you have a coach inside, so maybe you know what is your confidence, you don't feel so relaxed. So the coaching, I still motivated, because when I have the meeting of coaching, I'm so excited to schedule another one for the next week. When the coach said that, okay, it's due in 2 weeks, I thought, oh, why not in 1 week? 2 weeks is too much for me, because I'm gonna wait for 2 weeks. So when we are talking, he's pushing me to know what is my strength by myself. What is my strength? What is my weakness? So where's the place that I have to improve? Where's my plus that I can work again on it to do more and more? So it's every time that when I feel it, I'm so excited to make this discussion. I'm so excited to make this confidential discussion. Is like he is not a friend, she's not a friend. But when you have someone that you can share information, share confidential, and that can show you, can push you to see the way that you can move on, I think that is very important, and that it will make you very self-confident, and the self-confidence is the central of all the thing, of all the management and of all the leadership that we are doing.
Thank you, Bello, and thank you everyone for the conversation. I think if I can summarize for myself and the rest of the audience, this has been a really good discussion around the impact of coaching. And one of the lessons we've learned from you, the CARE team, is the impact on individuals as coaches, the impact it has on their personal development, their development as leaders. We've seen Bello give us the experience of when he's out of the field. We've heard Celine talk about when she had multiple conflicting priorities and big tasks. We've had your leader, your VP, Claudine, tell us how she's evolved as a leader in the organization, just benefiting from coaching as a leadership tool and from being a coachee herself. We appreciate that. We've also learned the impact of coaching on the overall organization, thanks to what Michelle shared. And to you, Sarah, thank you for being candid and telling us this is the first cohort, the first 16, the first Francophone cohort, and it is a journey, and to let us know that you're iterating as the journey evolves and figuring out how you make it stick as a culture. We're also very grateful for the coaches and for Sophie, who reminds us coaching skills are different from being certified coaches. And the question is, are we going to be certified coaches or leaders using coaching skills, or both? And how do we maintain the standards so that we can drive the impact? So this has been a fantastic, fast conversation. We've really enjoyed that. And thank you for joining CARE and AECC. And if you'll allow me, I'll take a few minutes to tell you about our next engagement on coaching. And that is the convention that's coming up. Diana, if you could put up the slides, please.
That will be me, just give me.
Sophie, okay.
Here we go.
So thank you for connecting with us in this conversation. As I mentioned at the beginning, this has been a partnership and dialogue between the Africa Executive Coaching Council and CARE. The Africa Executive Coaching Council will be convening the coaching convention. The coaching convention will be a Pan-African conversation on transforming organizations through executive coaching. We've had our initial conversation today with CARE and seen the impact it's had on them as an organization, on the markets, and on individuals. The convention will have, next slide, please. It will be why attend thought leadership. We'll have 40 visionary African leaders so that we can learn and share from each other, from trending workplace themes, to see how coaching can help us transform organizations, and to examine how coaching can be used to guide leaders through times of disruption, and how it can advance our organizations in the continent, whether they are corporates, multinationals, or even entrepreneurs. We'll have a lot of great speakers in the continent. Some of our speakers are featured there. We've got Mr. Fred Swanika from ALA. We've got our AECC board chair, Dr. Martin Oduor-Otieno. We've got Ajibola Ponle from Lagos. We've got Dr. Carol Pemberton. We've got Mirelle Carrera from the CEO of Cora Coaching Group. So a wide panel of diverse speakers giving us a view on coaching on the continent and coaching impact. We encourage you to go to our website, the Africa Executive Coaching website, and sign up. We do have an early bird offer that ends next week on Friday, the 22nd of January, and join us in more conversations like this as we support and promote the Council's mission to create an all-inclusive executive coaching ecosystem for Africa that promotes best practice and relevant support for all our stakeholders. Thank you. And here are our contact details, emails, phone numbers. Please jot those down, or you can find them on our website.
So we have a few questions whether, yes, yeah, whether this recording will be made available. Yes, it will be on our website, so you can always access it again and come back. And I think that was a question from Robert. Please, if you have any question about the convention, the idea is very much to create a dialogue that we can shape from the continent, how you want to be coached, and for us coaches to hear that and to hear that conversation. So be part of that conversation and join us.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, Catherine. There was a comment from Kim that says, like, I would have just tuned in to hear the beautiful accents. I really appreciate it. It gives me an opportunity to upload the courage of some of our participants today that have really pushed themselves, and big upload to do this, yes, in English and to answer. So to Bello and Celine, thank you so much to your enthusiasm, Michelle, on this program, as well as both a coach and here and convener of this webinar. Really, thank you, Sarah and Noya, to represent the coaches. I think like it was amazing to have you on board today. But really, big thanks to Bello and Celine. You've been outstanding, and your English is amazing. Thank you.
And for sharing their personal journeys. Thank you.
I think before we close, you want we have people behind the screen as well that have really been working actively on creating this. I can see there's Sylvia, Diana, and a few more people that are there ensuring that everything is running smooth. So thank you to also Amy and people that are there for us. And we're looking forward to all be there for you in March with the convention.
Yes, and do reach out to us. We are always available and excited to have engagements and discussions around coaching.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Really appreciate you all putting this together.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine, Sarah.
Thank you, Bello.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Michelle, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sophie, thank you.
Roland, I don't know. Roland has raised his hand, so I don't know if you want to put something in the chat, Roland. If you have a question or anything, please do. That's when we need to share a bit of music just to close. I think we need to plan that.
Next time we'll bring African.
Yes. Yeah, just like a
Bye,
bit of Dombolo.
a flavor from all countries. A mix.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, I have to join another call. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Michelle. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
I actually am supposed to be on another call as well. But I can stay on for a couple more minutes. I'd let them know.
I think everybody is.
Diana's signing out for us.
It's true that for you, the day is starting, Sarah.